good evening and welcome. Tonight is day 3 of working on this game. A little bit every night here. Um, Today I'm planning on working on Z sorting so my character can go behind some objects and so can the enemies and stuff. We'll see how far I get. They have a built-in sort of somebody built an extension that can do this for you, but um, I haven't looked into it, and I kind of want to implement my own solution just because, reinventing the wheel for no reason at all. It is what it is. I kind of want to do it my own way. Probably gonna struggle because I've never done this before, so it's not really a tutorial. This is more of a, I don't know, devlog sort of thing, or a log journal of this whole making a game thing, I guess. Uh, I have been having problems with my mic. I am not entirely sure what is causing it. Uh, I changed a few settings around, got rid of my desktop audio and changed some settings within Windows itself, and hopefully it's a little bit better tonight, but I won't know until I actually take a listen after I'm done streaming tonight. I know that I was hearing a lot of taps and stuff. I have to work on my um, noise gate a little bit more. When I turn it up a little higher, it tends to cut out the quieter parts of my speech. Um, but I can probably play around with it a little more. A couple bad streams, a couple bad videos isn't the end of the world. Just moving ahead and just, I guess, trying, because that's good to do things. Okay, so first show you kind of what I got and kind of the plan. I got my scratch paper. A bit of this is math. So I got my character walking around. The controls aren't perfect. If you hit two directions at the same time, it stops the character currently. Also, I played around last night and figured out the drop frames are because I'm streaming on OBS. I'm running everything off one computer currently. Maybe I can play around with it. It's a pretty lightweight game, so I don't need a high-end computer to work on it. But I'll see. I'll see how it goes. It seems to be going better tonight. Maybe I had another program that was messing with it. I don't seem to be getting as bad of a lag on it. Um, but tonight, what I'm working on is, as you can see, the character, when he walks in front of these gravestones here, he's not going in front. He's going behind, which I want, like, right here for him to be able to go to behind. But when he's here, he needs to be in front. So there's a method called Z sorting that will allow your character to change their Z layers as they move up. Um, you could probably do it for left and right too, but in this particular view, I don't need to worry about that. I only need to worry about changing the Z height going up. Uh, One solution you can do is for every pixel up you are, it changes your Z layer up, but there's so many Z layers here that I don't want to do it. So do that. So I'm going to break this grid down here into 4. So there'll be 4 Z heights can be at. And 4 because the fence is up top. I mean, you'll always be in front of this fence, so it doesn't really matter. I could probably get away with 2. But if you're interacting with enemies and stuff too, I want to have it more than just halfway up. So it's a quarter up. It's still not perfect if you did it per pixel or actually, so these are scaled up 8 by 8 into 32 by 32. So if I did it by broke it down into 8, that would work probably the best visually. I don't know if I can bake that into the way I'm planning on doing it, but for now, I'm just gonna do it 4 by 4, and I don't really have a plan. I understand the math, but I don't know how to have a plan how to implement this. So this is all gonna be on the fly and probably gonna make mistakes and all that good stuff. But hey, that's the fun of it. Okay, so to start, I'm gonna count the number of squares I got in this area. So between the fences is the area that I want to know. Or actually, one down here. And up to here. So there's one extra square on each side. Most of the squares on either side aren't going to be figured out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I gotta recount that. My mouse slipped. I gotta count it in my head this time, though. Bear with me. And yep, I got 22 again. No, one sec. I got a scratch pad, but nothing to write with. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And my cat's still up. He usually takes a nap around this time, but he's still up. And so you might hear some stuff going in the background. Also, it's gotten chilly, so I turned the heat on. Uh, I'm not sure how that is going to sound coming through the microphone, or how sensitive the microphone is. Haven't really tuned it in yet. Alright, so I got 22, so that's going to be 88 layers. So those are going to be the Z sorting layers. And the squares each are 32 by 32. So 32 divided by 4, I should one second. Should be able to do the math in my head, but after a long day, it's just easier to use a calculator. Alright, so 8. I should have known that, actually, because that's the conversion. So every 4 pixels they travel up, they move up another Z layer. And the Z layer is going to start at the top and work its way down. So the first Z layer for the entities are going to be right here. So one down. Looks like it's 0 up there. So down in the bottom right of the screen there, it shows where I'm at with my mouse. So it starts at 0, and then every increment of 4, it's going to increase the Z layer up 1 for the entities. Okay. So first thing I want to do, actually, is... So I could make a behavior and attach it to each of the creatures or entities that I want to be sorted. And that's probably actually the best way to do it. But for now, I want to make it just work. So I want to add a group, which I know a group is up here somewhere. Ah, there we go. I'm gonna add a new group called Z Sortable. Just gonna go through and select all the entities here, which might take a second. And if I get a little extra time, I will get the rest of these graphics. I do have the graphics already for these guys here. They're just in a format that doesn't work for Gdevelop at the moment. And I'm just going to do that off screen. Okay. I think that's everything that I want Z sortable. Great. Oh, and do I want to use a group variable? That's a variable that on all objects of the group. So they would share that variable between each other, I believe, which I am not going to need. I just need the group to I just need the group so I can call and check each one of the group's current position. And then from here, I'm going to add an event group. And again, this is probably not the best way to do it because I'm just winging it. I'll look into it a bit more, and one of these days I'll bring it in. I'll be working on this game for a while. It's not a game that'll be done within a couple weeks, especially since I'm only putting in about, well, planning on putting about 5 hours a week in. So I'll just slow and steady is kind of the plan on this one. Okay. So here. And then I'm going to grab the group. Okay. I'll have to look at that because if I can name, well, 88 Z layers, um, then I can just directly check each one. This is gonna be buggy, but I have to see. Um, suppose Google's my friend here. This is a newer feature, so I'm not entirely familiar with it. Sitting here in quiet. I I'm trying to figure out they don't have very good documentation on the group variables. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna try it. Okay, so our Z layers are gonna be 1 to 88. Says it's a typo, but that's fine. Why? Wonder if the player inherits that? Yes. Okay. So if I change this to say 1, and I can change the monsters shouldn't. Okay. Yeah. So the groups just inherit. So that's handy dandy. That saves a lot of time. That's something pretty nifty. I could probably change that to entities since I want entities to do more things. I was just thinking. um, Saved me a lot of time building this out. All right. All right. So right now, I'm gonna do this. Then at the beginning of the scene, since I already have things in the scene, The sortable. Oh, variable. Alright. So, we're gonna have to grab the. I believe it's the X. Uh, I'm just gonna leave that for now. I have to go back and check. This should be X. Oh, this is Y. Get that on my way. So we want to grab the Y. And nothing rotates so I can get away with bounding box position. Okay, so here's where the math comes in. So my height is 720. Calculator, handy dandy depth calculator. 720 divided by 88. So that's about. No, that's not right. 720. So it's not 720. So I'm gonna click OK for now. Go back and look at this. Like I said, I'm doing this kind of on the whim and figuring out on the fly. I might not figure it out completely, and I might bang my head on the wall a little bit after the stream. But maybe I can get through it in an hour. That's the goal, anyway. I did have a plan. It's already going out the window. So I'm one short of 720. So this would be 702. So oh, I already figured out. Let's see. 22 times 32 equals 704. So there's 704 by 88. So that's 8. That's not what I want to divide it by. But I'm going to write that number down anyway. I got to write those numbers down. Cat, what did you do with my pencil? For 704 pixels tall, divided by 88 is 8. Divided by 22 is 32. So I'm assuming divided by, so 8 pixels are for each section. probably overthinking this. I'm thinking it through here. Because the longhand way of doing this is just writing out every single position that it could be in the Z order. I already know it's either gonna be, so like I could do um let's say, or actually I'd want to be over here. So if I did this Z sortable Z order, and I could have, I could actually get away with not using the variable. I could just do the X position to, change the Z order on the fly, which I probably will do in the end. But just in case I need to reference the Z order for anything, um, then I will. So is, let's say, greater than 704 minus 8, which would be 6. 704, 696. So greater than 696. Then you would change that to 88. And then you would just do that 88 times and then be done with it. And that is something you can do. But then every time you want to resort, oh yeah, that's why I wanted the Z sortable, because if I have the Z sortable and it knows which group it is, it's only going to check whether it's going up or down below it to change the Z sorting in the end. So you're not constantly, well, is it this, it's this, for, I don't know, a lot of objects on screen. I would like it to be a little bit of a hectic game, probably not terribly heavy, but so that is something you could do. You could set all of them to that, and again, not really a tutorial because I haven't figured this out yet. I kind of have an idea of how I want to figure it out. I'm just, you know, doing it on stream. All right. So the bounding box Z sortable, so that's going to be the um, bottom of all of these objects here. Um, Hey, let me think about the math here for a second, because if so, I want to break 704. I want to divide 704 by 8. That's what I'm getting at. 704 divided by 8, because each one's 8 pixels tall. That would be 88. So there, circular logic again. Yeah. So yeah, there, that's what I want to do. I want to divide its Y position by 8. So let's say I had 6, 52 divided by 8. That's 81.5. Round down. And then that would be the Z order. Alright. Yeah, cool. That's what I want to do. I knew I'd get there. I knew there was a way to do it with math. Alright. Roll by 8. And go back in here. They have math. Mathematical. Pretty sure they have round. Maybe they don't. Maybe absolute. No, I don't know. Yeah, round. So, yeah, I don't know if that's rounding up or rounding down. Let me quick Google that because I want it to round down so you don't end up in a Z layer um, beyond um, end up in the wrong Z layer. All right, round is just gonna round to the closest, so I think it's gonna be, yeah, round will, if it's over zero point 0.5 or whatever, it'll round up. If it's under zero point 0.5, it'll round down, um, which I don't want. Floor, floor is what I want. Apparently, I would have never, I would have never guessed that. I'm glad I looked it up. Round number down to an integer. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna delete that. Delete that. Alright, so now we have to know um, the Z orders and what layer everything's on. These all have to come back and change because they're going to be on a different Z order within the 88 here. Uh, so, do, 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 do. So I have the base layer, which is the ground. I have the decorations layer, which is the path. I have an objects layer, which everything should walk over, but it should be over like the path and stuff. And then I have the entities layer. And so starting at layer 4, um, so layer 4 would be up there. So, and we start at Z group 1, because we can't get to 0. We start at Z group 1, so we'll add 3 to get to the layer. So whatever the Z group you are in, we're going to set these guys Z layer to their, um, oh, I named everything Z, so it might be a little confusing. We'll use the variable Z layer, and then we'll add 3. So their actual Z layer um, is going to be this number plus 3, which I could just add that here. No, I want to keep. I want to reference which layer. I want to keep that different for personal reasons, even though that's gonna come and bite me in the butt because I won't know what that plus 3 is for later. I could leave myself a note, but all right. So Z sortable. Z order. Set to. And we'll grab the object's variable. Oh. Variables. There we go. Well, arrays and structures. Oh, not what I want. Click OK there for a second. I think I can call the variable like this. Yeah. I want to call zsortable.zlayer plus, oh, plus 3. Okay, and that should work. This isn't going to work quite well, it might. Alright, so now all of them are set at the beginning of the scene. But now I want to take this at a new event, put it right here, or actually probably copy this event. You know what? I just have to not worry about it at the beginning of the scene, because if I do it constantly, okay. I'm going to toggle this disabled. This should just work right here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. That should just work. I'm sure it doesn't, because every time I've tried doing something, it has never been that simple, or as simple as you think it's going to be. Alright, so I'm going to preview it and see if I can walk behind the other instances of the enemies. The gravestones are still going to be off, but we'll figure it out. And we'll see if it causes significant lag here. Okay, here we go. It is causing a bit of lag. But it is working. And usually this would cause a collision anyway. But it is working. Now we just have to set the proper Z order for these guys here. Because now I'm just walking over the top of all of them. So each row will have a different Z layer, which we can figure out by dividing their bottom bounding box position. I wonder if I just want to set that. Now that I figured the math, it sounds a lot easier to do that than just to set it manually. All right. So Z sorting is actually really all that simple, and you could do the same thing if you wanted to do it by pixel. I think you would just reduce this number to the number of pixels you want in the layer. So say you wanted to do it by pixels, you would just leave it the bounding box and then set the Z sortable layer to that plus 3, and then you have all those layers. So this number, if you want to get tighter with the Z sorting, that's all you gotta do. I can't believe that was that simple, actually. After I struggled with it for half an hour. Oh, it's so easy. The solution is easy. Coming to the solution wasn't necessarily. Um, okay. So, yeah, I'm just gonna save, and I'm gonna do that in math. So, for each object, or actually, yeah. So I'm gonna copy this. No, that's not what I wanted to copy. Ugh. Alright, and I need to change. I want the bounding box bottom. I'm gonna go in here. Like 8. I could have just done this. Plus 3. Not 32. 3. Alright, and then that'll set all of them so I don't have to manually change them all. This should work, maybe. Nope. Still walking over them. Oh, this is why. There we go. Okay, now I can go behind the gravestones. I can also walk through the gravestones. Like a goose. This needs to go up probably to a layer just underneath these. And the fence should be on the Z sortable as well. But that's gonna cause no, it won't cause a problem. So I want to do the same thing for the headphones as I did, or headstones as I did for that. And trees as well. So I'm just gonna copy that, or copy that, paste, paste, paste. Small tree, large. It's just large. It was supposed to be a large tree. Okay, I can change that after a bit. It's just large. Okay. And then stone fence horizontal. I don't need to worry about the stone fence vertical. So those are the ones we want as well. So this is gonna be The large. Small tree. Change that. Oh. Tree. Large. Stone fence horizontal. Give that a preview. No, I need to do the same thing to the left and the right as well. Oh, oh, I'm gonna say that didn't work quite right, but then I forgot. Yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. Works for these. Oh, I know why. Because these are actually up. I'll have to set the fences themselves, because the fences are down a little bit. They'd be breaking into the other one. So those will have to be set manually. So I'm gonna ignore those tonight. I'll probably set those up off stream because it's just figuring out the math on those. These trees should be right though. So you can walk behind the trees, walk in front of the trees. Yeah. Alright. Noticing a few graphical things that I'll want to watch out for. I don't know how I'm gonna do with bounding boxes, like um, how close I'll actually allow him to be to the tree, because it is kind of three-dimensional. Uh, Trees aren't going to be that big of an obstacle. Obviously, I don't want to be able to walk through the trees. Okay. And I'm getting some lag. I don't know if it's because of the stuff I added or the stream is taking up a lot of the graphical processing power. Um, the game might be causing lag with the streaming as well, and I am looking into it. Hopefully, I get it figured out soon-ish. While I'm here, why not? Let's work on the uh, collision objects. So at this point, I'm not gonna figure out myself. Well, do I need to do that? No, I don't think I need to do that. So, edit collision masks. Use custom. And I'm just basically going to make it so his head can't run into things. He will have a slightly different hitbox for attacks. This is just for movement. And I'm going to bring this in to right here. And depending on movement, if the movement's too clunky, I actually will probably bring it in 1 pixel as well. So it's not quite so firm in its positioning, and that's just giving people a little leeway for the visual and overlap when they're trying to make a lot of decisions in a hectic situation. Same collision masks for all animations. I'm just gonna say yes for now. The side animation would have a slightly different collision mask, um, which would allow you to do some funky maneuvers. But for now, I'm just gonna leave it that way. It'll be goofy with the side view, but I know that. Oh, did I cancel that? No. Okay. Let's close that. Fly. Objects. Oh, no. Scenery. Headstone. We're gonna add. Why does that have such a weird collision mask? Okay. And I'm just gonna kind of guesstimate here, and see kind of what works. That's close to what I want to do. Fly. Scene effects wouldn't be where I want it. Z sorting. Gonna close that. So I'm gonna add a new event group. Oh, where did I add that? Probably down here. Alright. Pull that out, put it under Z sorting. And I'm gonna call this collisions. Because I would probably call combat collisions because it pretty much collisions, but I'm gonna use this for movement. Or actually, I'll just. It's better to be completely clear with your stuff so you don't spend a bunch of time looking. I've made that mistake before, like, oh, this is gonna be simple to remember, and then unless it's verbosely stated, I get really confused and lost in my own little maze that I create myself. So the more verbose, for me personally, the better, and descriptive, like what it's actually doing. That's really important for trying to keep track of a lot of moving parts, which games, even simple games, tend to have a lot of moving parts in them. Uh, I mean, you could plug in a bunch of behaviors and make a game and then just change little variables. This engine's pretty cool for that. Uh, and I will be utilizing some behaviors as I go forward. There's just some things that aren't necessarily worth trying to do yourself. Okay. So, and I can probably, okay. Alright. So actually, first what I need to do, title scene, add new group. How do you spell obstacles? I think it's obsta. Oh, goodness. I need to practice my spelling more. Yeah, but it's A. I thought so. I thought that looked wrong. That is not going to be an obstacle. I was debating, yeah, open grave should probably be an obstacle. And I've been toying with the idea of more opening up and being able to use the shovel to bury them as you're going, which slows you down for a second, but keeps movement options open. We need vertical fence, horizontal fence. Not sure we need the corners, probably. I'm gonna grab the end. And better, oh no, that doesn't need to be in there. I'm gonna grab the corners just to be safe. Small tree, large tree, headstone, open grave, all the stone fences. Yeah. We don't need any variables for it. We just need a reference to all the groups in there so we can add more in the future. Um, makes it so they can inherit that. Um, so we're gonna go if player collision with obstacle. Okay. Player. Oh, how do you do that again? You move the one away. Separate objects. That's what I want. Choose object that won't move. So, obstacle. Alright. And this does get buggy, especially when I try it on a lot of enemies or items that are trying to drop on grounds. They constantly push away from each other, I found. So I'm just gonna give this a preview here. Okay. Still have some overlap there. With the ground. I might have to take these shadows off and separate them to be their own element, because you should always be over the shadow. And then, yeah, probably move this down to about belt height. The gravestone one down just a little bit as well, because that doesn't seem quite right either. Alright. This is right, but you can go around it. Larger obstacle. It just kind of extends the obstacle of the grave. So I like that. The fact that you can still kind of get around it, that's good too. And then I can reference all these obstacles when I do finally get to enemy pathfinding. Though some of the first enemies I'm going to be working on aren't actually going to be hunting the character. They're just going to be doing their own thing. But that's a ways off here. Oh, that does not have a collision box. That does. I'll go up and test the small tree here. And the small tree doesn't have a collision box. Oh yeah, it has the small little one. Okay, because it was small first. Okay, I know what's going on. Okay, well, I did kind of get a little bit of a late start, but I think that's as far as I'm gonna go tonight. I got the Z sorting set up. I got a few of the collisions set up. I'll probably wrap some of the more tedious stuff with that up tonight, so I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. Tomorrow, I would like to get into drawing the attacks, but I'm gonna think about it and try not to get ahead of myself, because that's one thing. Setting up the environment and having a good base to build off of is kind of important. It's really easy to feature creep. Oh, I want to work on this and have this in here. I want to have that there. without setting up a good base of what you want to do going forward. So I'm trying to be very thoughtful with this, and that's why working on it only an hour a night helps keep me keeps me goal orientated and tries to keep the scope in. Anyway, if you watch this stream or video, I hope you have a very wonderful night, and I hope you come back and check this out in the future. Thank you. Good night.